Well, I mentioned she'd be coming on, and here she is, Kimberly Guilfoyle, whom you know from The Five, now on at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fox News. Kimberly, it's a real pleasure to have you on.
Oh, hi. Thanks. It's great to be on your program.
A lot of stories, and we're recording 3 hours before the first airing. The podcast comes out at 6 p.m., so some of these may be in flux. We know that. But let's just get started. You are a former prosecutor, San Francisco and LA, I believe, and you must have some strong feelings about James Comey, though by the time this airs, that news cycle may well be up.
Well, listen, this is obviously a developing story, and it is big breaking news, but I think the president was pretty firm in his resolve and his opinion that Director Comey should not serve further as head of the FBI, as director. And so I think this was really just a matter of time, and then I think he followed the right process, which was to get the recommendation based on the investigation, the report prepared by his deputy AG, Rod Rosenstein, who prepared a very thorough evaluation and making that recommendation, which was consistent with the president's, feelings and decision. So in terms of that I think is, on solid grounds. The director of the FBI serves at the pleasure of the President of the United States. It's within his discretion to determine whether or not that person should continue in their position and if that is best serving the interests of the country. He made that determination. I think there's ample evidence to support it, and you've seen bipartisan, voices in unison on this issue, that this was somebody who had overstepped his bounds as director of the FBI, being judge and jury and prosecutor all in one. You saw that specifically with his initial decision saying that he did not recommend that there would be any prosecution or indictment of Hillary Clinton, and he overstepped bounds by taking the role of the Attorney General at the time, Loretta Lynch, and it is the sole purview of the prosecutor to determine whether or not charges should be filed. The FBI merely provides the investigation and the reports by which then, the lawyers and the AG make the decision. So that was the beginning of the problems there. And then there was problems with Director Comey's testimony,
right.
And that I think it just served to have further evidence for the president to say that this was something that could no longer, continue on and was no longer tenable to have him serve in that position. And I'm very confident that he's going to pick somebody that is more in keeping with the quiet professional, approach and mantra that an FBI director should have, and someone that the rank and file will gladly support.
What's your response to, for example, Chuck Schumer saying, well, it should have been done on day one, and to the kind of ridiculous Maxine Waters comment that it would have been fine had Hillary Clinton done it? Or are these people who would have nipped at the heels of Trump no matter what he did in this situation?
Of course they would. Of course they would have. I mean, listen, Director Comey would have been in office less than 24 hours the minute Hillary Clinton became president. If the situation were, reversed. And this is just the mainstream media and the bias out there that no matter what President Trump does, they're going to find fault with it. Even if it's something that they would, support, they're going to make an issue of it. And President Trump has been very steadfast in his opinions, saying that he was going to fire Comey anyway, the news that was coming out. And he was adamant in his statement that he knows that he was not under any kind of investigation for Russia, which was in his letter. And also President Trump saying that he was going to fire Comey regardless, of the recommendation, because that was his opinion. So the recommendation was just in keeping with that. So that's it. I mean, I think that this is just obviously taken on kind of a life of its own, but I think it's in the best interest of the country that the decision was made. And I actually look forward to hearing who he's going to choose to, be put in that place.
Yeah, a lot of speculation out there about this. One more thing about Comey, because it really talks about, it says a lot about the whole media situation now with fake news, et cetera. The way the Washington Post reported that Comey had sought more resources for his Russia probe, and they went ahead with that story, then they basically retracted it. I mean, what does that say?
Then they retracted it. Yeah, well, I mean, it's just the media so anxious to try to, castigate President Trump and try to impugn him and his administration and try to, impede him in any way with trying to achieve his policy goals and objectives. And, they want to try to besmirch him every chance they get, to say that he was doing something nefarious, that the reason for the firing for Comey was because, President Trump didn't want Comey to further investigate him regarding ties with Russia. And once again, there's absolutely zero evidence to support any kind of collusion between President Trump and the Russians. There's no evidence to support that. And Clapper has come out and said that. So has Dianne Feinstein. And so this is just, it's more of the nonsense of fake news.
Is it amazing how they keep going and going with that story? I mean, I have to think that there's some subtle eroding of their credibility among people in the middle and even on the left at this point.
Yeah,
when
of course there is. The American public has become quite disgusted with the rampant bias, and, that's why the president's frustrated, but it was part of the, reasons that he won, that people wanted wholesale change in Washington. And this is why nothing ever gets done, because, the mainstream media just chases their own tail in circles with a false narrative that they'll go to any length to, perpetuate.
Yeah, I loved how the president had the video montage of Democrats calling for Comey to be fired. I mean, don't they think that people are going to come up with this? I mean, it's amazing. Everyone knows.
Really unbelievable. It really, really is. So it just shows that, they just lose credibility. They have just, no credibility when they behave in this fashion, because the evidence is there, but they don't seem to have any shame.
I mean, it's one thing to lie, but it's another thing to lie and think that this isn't going to appear on the Internet by someone who's resourceful out there, wants to make a name for themselves on Twitter. And God bless them. And finally, one more thing on Comey. What do you make of the Jason Chaffetz angle? Him asking Chaffetz. Long day for me. I need another coffee.
Yeah.
Jason Chaffetz. I know who he is. I know plenty about him. Asking the DOJ to investigate the Comey firing.
I think there's a lot of political posturing right now. I mean, what is there to investigate? No one is disputing that the man was overstepping his bounds and taking on a role that wasn't the proper purview of the FBI director. So what is there to investigate? The president can dismiss and fire the director of the FBI. He serves at his pleasure. And even Comey has had a statement saying that the president can fire the head of the FBI for any reason. So really, what is there to investigate? There is no guideline of proper, improper. You might have objected to the communications rollout on it, or some of the optics, but the decision in itself is well-grounded and constitutional. So there you go.
Do you think Andrew McCabe won't be there too long?
I don't really know about that. I mean, do I think he's going to be there, career long-term further than he already has? I don't know. I can't really speculate about that. Perhaps he's going to want to move on himself.
All right, Kimberly, let me ask you something off the Comey topic. You've switched, the 5 has switched to 9 p.m.
Yep.
How is that going so far? I mean,
it's pretty interesting, because it has a completely different feel at 9 p.m. It feels a little bit more serious. It's certainly later, so it's been a kind of lifestyle changes for all of us, because really, in your live TV, it's, we're high energy, a fun group, we've got great chemistry, and a lot of respect for one another. So, I think it's going well, and it's, just been a really serious ratings battle. Just even at our own network, with super talented friends of mine, Tucker Carlson and Sean Hannity, and some of the other networks and stuff as well. So it's fun. We like a good fight.
We all love the 5, but, as someone who always tries to get the most out of myself, but is aware I am a morning person, not a night person, where do you stand on that issue, or do you coffee yourself up? How do you make that adjustment? I'm genuinely very curious.
I'm up at 6 a.m., and so it is a little bit brutal, because I have a little boy who's 10, so that I bring him, to school and get him ready and that type of thing. But it's, I'll have to say that I definitely have had to add caffeine to my life, so I'm by myself drinking an energy drink.
Well, is it caffeine that works for you, or do you change your diet? Because caffeine only does so much for me late at the. I mean, I couldn't do it. I mean, look, it's some of it, and I think getting in a good workout is good, and I'm super high energy person anyway, and I definitely tend to be more of a night person. Oh, okay.
But it's different. It's it was kind of nice to be done at 6 o'clock, and then you have the rest of your evening, spend with family, friends, etc., and start your prep for the next day. But it's a new chapter, and we look forward to continuing the challenge and the fight.
but you're at your best at night. All right, so all the more reason to tune in now. And
yeah,
here,
exactly.
I have to ask one more thing. I mean, I love the show. I think it's the best, fairest coverage. But are there a lot of annoying jokes made, like regarding the Dolly Parton and Sheena Easton 9 to 5 or 9 to 5 like songs because it's the 5 at 9? And how old does that get?
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, that's hilarious. We haven't played that yet. Maybe I got to tell them to cue that up in the control room.
Well, it's backwards.
That's pretty funny.
Oh, come on. You're making it sound like no one makes that joke 3 times a day.
We haven't had that. I haven't heard that joke yet, so you're an originalist.
I guess I like 80s music too much. What can I tell you? I was 10 in 1981 when those were back out. Finally, what's your Twitter handle? I want to make sure people have a chance to follow you on
Yes,
that.
it's at Kim Guilfoyle. And my Instagram is at Kimberly Guilfoyle, and I've got a public Facebook page as well. So come join the fun. Yeah,
well, I appreciate your talking to us, and who knows, maybe we'll be hearing your name a lot in the next news cycle. Who knows why?
Yes, let's see.
I'll leave it at that.
All right, fantastic.
Appreciate you taking the time. Pleasure talking to you.
Okay, take care.